she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you lusting is the one you're loving?
And one of the things that I'd like to do is deconstruct power. I always want to ask the question, how did we get here? I always want to ask the question, what is our responsibility once we're here to change the narrative, to shift the paradigm? And so, but part of that is knowing. You got to know a thing. As I sit here with Don Calloway, he's got Dick Gregory over his shoulder, his presidency run, his write-in presidency. You got some amazing, art on the back, including Hoop Dreams. I love it. I love it all. But there's always an origin story, right? And it's Tech Tuesday. And one of the most powerful men in the world right now is Elon Musk. And I say that with trepidation. I'm not happy to say that, but it's a fact. And so I want to how did he get here? So there's a story, and I invite everyone to read it, all 30 plus pages, because I rarely read today because there's really nothing valuable. I feel like everything is aggregated and, warmed over and copied. This man did some reporting, Ronan Farrow. He did some damn reporting. This is journalism I haven't seen in a while. It's in the New Yorker. He made me subscribe to the New Yorker so I could get the damn thing printed out. And it's called, the title is Elon Musk's Shadow Rule, and it starts last October. Colin Cowell, then the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy at the Pentagon, sat in a hotel in Paris and prepared to make a call to avert disaster in Ukraine. A staffer handed him an iPhone, in part to avoid inviting an onslaught of late night texts and colorful emojis on Cowell's own personal phone. So again, Pentagon. He returned to his room with its heavy drapery, distant view of the Eiffel Tower after a day of meetings with officials from the UK, France, and Germany. A senior defense official told me, this is again Ronan Farrow, that Cowell was surprised by whom he was about to contact. He was like, why am I calling Elon Musk? And it goes on to tell us that Elon Musk was integral in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, because his SpaceX, which I didn't know until I'm reading this piece, his SpaceX provides satellite and internet. And it was providing it to Ukraine as they were marching and winning. And so I'm going to read more. Musk, and it goes down, Musk tweeted a proposal for his own peace plan. So he's so involved in this that he can determine who's going to win this war. And I was like, whoa. He, at some point, decided that he was no longer going to provide internet to Ukraine and instead was going to try to broker peace because Russia was more important to him. Just that whim, right? So he proposed a referendum that would give Russia control of Crimea, which is, of course, part of Ukrainian territory, in a tweet. So those who want to know, why did he buy Twitter? I first naively thought it was to destroy Twitter, much the reason why Trump ran for president and Bannon and them wanted to destroy America, because they have global prospects. It's not about this country. It's about dismantling this country. I think they've done a good job, by the way. I thought Musk bought Twitter to dismantle Twitter, but he bought Twitter for much more nefarious reasons as I'm reading this piece. And I'm like, whoa, he's using it as a lever and an arm and a bludgeon and a hammer. In a tweet, he portrayed an inevitable outcome favoring Russia and attached maps to show what it should look like. This is so much. He goes on. One of Zelensky's generals said that we were very close to the front line, and when they got to the front line, he said we crossed this border, and the Starlink stopped working. That's Elon Musk's thing. Communications became dead. Units were isolated. When you're on the offense, he said, especially for commanders, you need a constant stream of information from battalions. Commanders had to drive to the battlefield to be in radio range. He said it was absolute chaos. So at the point that they're marching on Russia and they're winning, they get across a particular point, they have no more connection to one another because Elon Musk pulled the plug, which is what I've been saying about all of these platforms. If you have Amazon, for example, having all of the servers, everybody's servers plug, all this person needs to do is pull a plug. No person should have that much power. Elon Musk, I'm going to supply you with this thing. I'm going to supply you with the internet, and then made an arbitrary decision because the Pentagon can't involve themselves with a private business. They can't tell them what to do. So he decided he gave it to them. And then he said, oh, this is worth $100 million a month. I need the money for this if I'm going to keep this going. First, he gave it for free. See how that worked? Gave it for free. Hey, here's some crack. Give it for free. Try this out. And then this is the cost. And America can't pay it, right? So I just want you to, did you read this piece, Don? Don Calloway is here.
I did not read the piece. I deeply respect Ronan Farrow, so I'm gonna get to it right away. But taken in isolation, you kind of have been able to put the pieces together over the last couple of years. Let me start here. The inevitable effect, if not the immediate goal of capitalism, is concentration of massive wealth in the hands of very few. An inevitable result of that is that massive amounts of wealth will, let's not talk about social inequality or any of that. An inevitable result of concentration of wealth in the hands of very few is that massive amounts of wealth will end up predominantly, if not disproportionately, in the hands of really bad people, because they are the ones willing to pursue wealth without an ethical code. And Elon Musk appears to be exhibit A in that syllogism. Whether or not we think he is a brilliant tech innovator, he's not. Whether or not we think he is a genius, he's not. Elon Musk has had the wealth of multiple nations concentrated in him, a person who is not necessarily ethically moored. This is the natural result of our fundamental adherence to capitalism and an unchecked global capitalism at all costs. When you talk about multiple nations that don't combined approach the wealth vested in his household, then you've effectively created a man more powerful than multiple nations. So, of course, he as a singular man is a central figure in the most important physical global conflict of the moment, right? This is the natural outcome of a strict adherence to a rabid capitalism. You will create men with the power of entire bargaining bodies, because that man will control the media, he controls platforms, he controls the infrastructure, the unseen. This is not Carnegie and Rockefeller who control pipes or water or utilities. This is the new unseen global infrastructure. And one man who is not ethically rooted would ultimately have far too much control over some massive public pipeline, because we have enabled that through unregulated adherence to capitalism over the last 50 to 70 years in this country.
There is that idiom, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think people delude themselves because, from every reading of his background, because I've decided now to go down a rabbit hole to find out who this man is, right? Because he does control so much. So I'm going to do just a little bio for folk who haven't done the work that Ronan Farrow so easily does in 30-something pages, which is break down who this person is. I'm going to just read a little bit more because I think it's important to know first who he is. All right. So born in Pretoria, South Africa. So he's born in South Africa, raised in South Africa, attended University of Pretoria. So he went to college in South Africa, then school in South Africa. So his formative years in apartheid South Africa, even if it was after apartheid, the vestiges of South Africa as a white man in South Africa is in him. His father owned, I think, a emerald mine. Let's just sit with that. A mine. He owned a mine. So who was mining the mine? You know what I'm saying? What kind of person owns a mine, and then who are you presiding over? That's his daddy, who also in this article is categorized as an abusive man. Who beat, allegedly, according to this article, beat his wife. The little Musk children watched that, and they moved to Canada with their mom. But then at some point, Elon moved back with his father, and apparently his father was abusive to him. So I often think about people raised in abusive, troublesome places. More likely than not, Don Calloway and family, they will mirror and model the behavior that they witnessed. So it is very, very, very likely that a person growing up in a household where there was abuse ends up abusing. It is less likely that they don't. I know we don't want to do the thing, but we usually become the thing that we see.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I run my fingers through her hair as she smiles and says that she loves me. Isn't it lovely when the one you love thinks